Yeah. I want to let you guys know I was not wearing my Boston jersey until after this game. I actually wore, just as an example, just to prove I was wearing it. There's no other reason to be sitting here. I was wearing my Cthulhu jersey the entire way. Cause yeah, I'm not superstitious, but I kind of am. This game was terrifying, and I understand that Toronto fans are going to be upset tonight, and I get it. As a Bruins fan, this game was terrifying. Boston cannot afford to keep playing this way, or they will lose. Do not give Toronto so many chances. Don't give them so much open ice. Please and thank you. This was very, very close. If this game had gone to overtime, well, I took some notes during the game, so if you're not able to read them just yet, I will read them out for you. Let me just move this a little bit around there. You can see a little bit of the game that's on currently, which is bewildering me. I gotta say that other game, that's just bewildering. I'm convinced I'm getting punked tonight. I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and go, "Ha, Shannon, hockey punked you." First period, McAvoy scores from Coyle and Grzelcyk. That's a power play goal for Boston. They needed that and they get it early. Marchand then adds a goal from McAvoy and Bergeron. Does this guy relax? No. There's no relaxing at this point in time of the year because, again, Toronto absolutely horrifies me. Hyman scores from Riley and Tavares before the end of the first period to make sure I stay nice and tense. That makes it 2-1 in favor of Boston. Shots through the first, 14-12 for Boston. They score on their only power play. Toronto's 0 for 2 on theirs. Second period, early on, Austin Matthews with a goal from Janssen and Hainsey. That causes full-on panic for me because I keep waiting. I keep waiting because I'm saying this with all due respect to the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are a very good team. This is a very well put together team, and I'm afraid because this is sort of how things work. Pasternak scores in the second period from Marchand and Bergeron to make it 3-2, and then he adds a power play marker before the end of the period from Marchand. Shots are 14-8 for Toronto. Toronto has control of the puck. Tuukka Rask pretty solid throughout this game, and then the third period nerves kick in. Boston 1 for 1 in the power play. Toronto does not have a power play in the second period. In the third period, and this is where I started taking notes because this is where the whole I'm in a panic starts. Chara scores an unassisted goal to make it 5-2, and I wrote on the board, allowed myself to relax. Like, okay, they're up by 3 in the third. Boston's not going to blow a 3-goal lead in the third period. They're a very good defensive team. And what's that? Yeah. Matthews scores on the power play from Marner and Riley. At the point where Toronto gets the power play, I'm thinking, okay, if Boston can kill this and just manage to clear the puck, it'll take 2 minutes off the clock. They can ice it and not have to worry about it. 10 seconds into the power play, Matthews gets that goal. So, and the scoring play, I thought Tavares had a shot at that too, so I'm surprised it's not Tavares and Marner that showed up on my phone, but it said Marner and Riley. Doesn't matter. At that point, with that power play goal, I go back to and panic, and that's when my heart starts to race a little bit. I'm like, okay, it's two goal lead, right, with about 6.5 minutes left. So you're probably like, Shannon, just relax. No. Dermott scores from Gardner and Nylander, and my brain says, well, Boston had a good run, and all I can think is they're in the midst of a collapse. This is absolutely a collapse. And Toronto with a lot of pressure, and Tuukka Benz doesn't break in the last couple of minutes. Anyways, Nordstrom adds an empty netter from Krejci. That seals it at 6-4. So the final is 6-4. Again, this is not a Boston style game. They cannot get into this kind of pond hockey at home. Because it worked in their favor tonight. Good for them, but they got outshot quite a bit. 16-9 in that third period. Toronto scored on their only power play. Boston did not have a power play in the third period. So, overall things kind of even up. The power plays were 3-2 for Toronto, so they had more power plays than Boston did, but Boston was 100% on their power play. Last I saw, Don Cherry is again talking about Nikita Zaitsev being a lousy defenseman. This is what This is what Cherry will mention every time. I understand there's going to be Leaf fans who agree with them tonight. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I know that Chara and McAvoy have kind of frightened me throughout this series. Tonight they both get on the board with goals. That's good. And Boston comes out with a victory, meaning it's now a best 2 out of 3 as we head back to Boston for Game 5 on Friday. And we'll see how that works. The thing is, a month ago, I bought tickets to a rock concert, which is on Friday night, so I may not see the end of the Boston-Toronto game. So the review for that game doesn't go up until after we get back from that concert, which is in Bellingham, which is an hour from where I am. So, yeah, it's a good game for Toronto, but at the end of it, Boston comes out with the victory. Tuukka Rask, 38 saves on 42 shots. I thought he played well. Freddie Anderson, 25 saves on 30 shots. I'm not going to put it on Freddie either. The defense on both sides was kind of iffy, and honestly, there are a lot of concerns I have as a Bruins fan going into game 5. The one good thing, though, is that first line gets put back together, and they do very well. It's sort of like, Bruce Cassidy breaks them up. He knows he's putting them back together. They were broken up at the start of the game. By the second period, yeah, they're back together. Yeah, it's fine. You guys are back together. And it works out pretty well. Heinen does not get on the board in the time that he's on the wing for Marchand and Bergeron, but your result is still the same, a Boston victory, and we'll see how things work out. Now it's a must-win in Game 5 for Toronto. Toronto absolutely has to win Game 5. They need to win Game 5 and then win Game 6. If Boston wins Game 5, this series could end up being over in 6. But in reality, we all know it's going to go to 7, don't we? Because that's what happens between Boston and Toronto. That's just the way that works. All right, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And these notes are legit. This is how I watch hockey. I do not cheer. I didn't cheer after I kind of pumped my fist when Chara scored, like, okay, that should be the one. And then I don't relax after Toronto scores to make it a 2-goal game. I don't relax at all. I think people would kind of be bored watching me watch a game between Boston and anybody, or Dallas or Vancouver. Now, if it's a game between two teams, I don't really care. Then I can cheer, I can yell, I can do whatever. I don't care. But when it's a team I cheer for, I get really nervous. It's just the way it works. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.